Did you know that China has hundreds of pyramids dotting the landscape? Did you also know that there's just as much controversy surrounding those pyramids as the ancient Egyptian pyramids? Let's talk about it. Ancient China is surrounded in mystery. There's mythology, there's theory, there's conspiracy, just as much as there is in Greek, Roman, and ancient Egyptian history. There's just so much that we don't know because there's very little that was actually found out about ancient China. Yes, we know what their inventions were and what contributions they've actually made towards humanity, but the culture, lifestyle, their mythology, dig sites, there's really not many archaeological digs in China, which leads to many conspiracy theories. Egyptian pyramids didn't really gain popularity in the West until after World War II, whenever occupational forces were helping China rebuild. Russia was also helping. They discovered these mounds, or at least what they thought were mounds that had some grass growing over them. But as they looked deeper into it and actually talked to the locals, they found out that these were pyramids. The pyramids in China differ majorly to the pyramids in Egypt. The earliest pyramids in ancient China were dated to around 4200 BC. That's whenever they were first started to be being constructed. There really isn't an end date because archaeologists really don't know. There's not much known about them. But they were mainly made of mud, like a mud slurry mixture, and they would mix it with reeds and grass, different kinds of grains, and they would mix it together, and they wouldn't even bake it. They just make mud and slap it on. But what's so astounding about this fact is they're over 1,000, well, not over 1,000 feet, but they're around 1,000 feet tall, or some of the biggest ones were. That's almost 2 times the size of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. That's not small. That's very big for it to be made out of mud. It's a structural feat. It's an engineering feat that today they still don't know how to replicate that construction process. Many of these pyramids were used as tombs for their emperors, a lot like the older pyramids, like the Mayan pyramids, the ancient Egyptian pyramids for the pharaohs, the tombs of the pharaohs, or at least that's what we are led to believe whenever it comes to what archaeologists have found. They're just mainly used as tombs to honor the dead. Some of the pyramids in China have museums attached to them where tourists can go and learn about the history of the dynasty that ruled in that era, what the emperor was that ran that era, and there's the Terracotta Army was discovered by one of the most prevalent pyramids in China. Now, as I said previously, not much is known about the Chinese pyramids, who built them, what the people were, what dynasties were. There are a few where they've connected what dynasty or what emperor actually built the pyramids, but not much else is really known about the pyramids of China. And that's where the controversy starts. Well, think I'm going to need a different hat for this one, boys. This is what I call the anti-government listening hat 2500 Hunter Deluxe. It was a Duck Commander hat. Now the government can't hear my thoughts. But the invention of Google Maps is what brought the Great Pyramids of China, or the Pyramids of China, to modern day popularity. There were people, I'm sure you guys know what Google Maps is, were the strangest places on Earth on Google Maps. Well, these people that were looking at Google Maps, they were finding hundreds and hundreds of these pyramids, and it actually looked like China was actively trying to landscape over these pyramids and plant trees and hide the fact that these pyramids were all over the landscape. Now, that sounds a little bit weird, but there is some evidence backing these claims up. China was covering them up, but there was nothing released to the public as to why. They thought a lot of the excuses were made. Some of the naysayers were saying, well, maybe it's just because they're trying to make the area for the local populace look beautiful. First off, China never gave a crap about its local populations. China does not care. China is one of the most totalitarian, evil dictatorships in the world. That's a bad thing to say. The government, not the people. So why would they even care about making something look beautiful when many of these pyramids are in rural areas? That's my main point. That's not my main point, but that's what evidence main point is. Why would the Chinese government actively try and cover these up if it was just for aesthetics for people that they don't care about, because these are what they consider peasants or the lower class, so they're not really going to care about making these things look beautiful. So it was that lack of information that everyone came out saying, why is China doing this? Why is China trying to cover these up? What are they trying to hide? First thing they jump to, aliens. There's some sort of alien conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, if there were aliens, we'd know by now. But as they move forward with, more evidence, as they try and collect more evidence as to reasoning why, or theories, some of their arguments become more theoretical, more not necessarily theoretical. They come more, they're more palpable. They're more palatable. It has a better understanding. There's a better understanding as to why they think this way, or why it would be such a cover-up, because there is some discussion in not orthodox mainstream archaeology, but in some of the unorthodox is we have the timeline of humanity wrong. So by covering these structures up that, I mean, if they were dated 10s and 20s and 30s of thousands of years ago, where it stands as humanity is in the evolutionary time span, that wouldn't have been possible for ancient humans. So the ancient advanced human civilization theory comes into play, but because there's so little evidence to back any of these claims, no one can really say either way. Now, that is the whole reason why all of these conspiracy theories have arisen, is because no one is actively investigating these pyramids. Is China not letting in archaeological communities and checking out these pyramids, or is it a cover-up? That's the question at hand. Why, if there is nothing to hide, then why not let these people come in, investigate the sites? Because they have the funding, they have the backing. There are so many different programs or universities that actually want to go and explore these pyramids and learn about them and learn about the people that built them, but China is actively blocking them. And if you have nothing to hide, why would you hide it? And that's where the argument for these conspiracy theories come into play. But as I said, there's really not much more to talk about on this topic. It's a very interesting one, but there's really not too much information known on the pyramids themselves to where I can go into detail on to how they were constructed, the exact dates, and who and what was the process of constructing it, why they built them, etc., etc. I can go on and make excuses, but there's really not much information known. Now, as for the conspiracy side, it's interesting. I like reading about this stuff, but take it with a grain of salt. It's not fact. It's not proven. So it's not something that you can really say knowingly that this is how it is. Yeah, an ancient human civilization built this, or the aliens did it, or they're built upon ley lines across the earth to make power for an ancient civilization. You just don't know. But it's always good to research it. So we're going to have some links down below where you can check it out. If you like the video, throw us a like. Tell us some of your conspiracy theories down below, and if I get enough feedback for it, maybe we will make an episode dedicated directly to the conspiracy theories around the Chinese pyramids, because I really didn't go too in depth on it because there's just so many of them. But if you guys leave some down below, maybe we generate enough comments and enough interest, we'll make a whole episode on it. So, like I said, if you like the video, throw us a like, throw us a thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next one.